Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Toulianos, and brought to you by this book, The Bible of Bodybuilding 2. Is it 700, 800? Over 700 pages. Everything you need to know about training, nutrition, supplementation, PED use, available on Amazon.com. And if you don't have any weights, it's so heavy you could do some curls with it if you really wanted to. And now, all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome Dr. George Toulianos. What's up, George?
Happy May 1st. This is a global holiday, right?
I think it's a holiday in some places. My son's in Australia, and
Well,
I
it
don't know
started
why.
from Chicago.
What is
Long
it?
time. It did, yeah. It started from Chicago. You know, the workers did
Oh,
the strike.
maybe.
I think it
We,
was
we don't.
after a political thing.
I'm
No?
trying to see. We don't have one. We don't have a holiday here today, do we? May 1st? Nope. No, we don't have any holidays till the end of the month. We have Memorial Day, but that's not for 30 more days. But yeah, so I saw Jay Cutler over the weekend here in Boston. He came back to his roots. He does
Yeah,
two
he
shows.
said he's 12%. I think it's too much for Jay. I mean, his abs are visible all year round, and I think he's around 10 or 8. I don't know, 12 to 14, he said.
Yeah, I
In
think
your,
he's. I think he's over. I think he's overestimating his body fat. He's not 12 to 14. But yeah, he says he's about 235. He's going to get in better shape for his 50th birthday, which
Yeah,
is,
actually, he was 235 when he visited Greece in 7 years ago, 215. You know, he says he wanted to downsize, but he always remained this body weight, 105 kilograms. And also, I met him in FIBO 2016, and he was really lean. Even the obliques were visible, you know. So
yeah,
that's his natural thing. I mean, now that his casual thing, actually, his casual condition, but he says he's going to go really down in body fat
yeah,
as a challenge for his 50th birthday in August 3. You know, I'm July 2.
yeah. You guys are a month
I don't
apart.
think you're going to do the Masters, huh?
No, he won't do
There's
it.
nothing to win.
Well, I found out the prize money for first place for the Masters Mr. Olympia is $20,000. Every other,
He's making more than that. Huh?
yeah, he makes a lot more money than that just every day doing whatever he does. But every other division is $10,000 first prize. So 212 classic, men's physique, women's bodybuilding, women's fitness, figure, bikini. So, I didn't think it was going to have millions of dollars of prize money. Maybe if this is really popular and it takes off, they'll increase the prize money as they get more sponsors, sell more tickets,
And
stuff like that.
also, Victor is not showing up. Huh? He didn't show up.
No, no. I mean, on that list, I was hoping to see some names from the past.
I think just Max Charles is the only big name, let's say. Yeah,
We got Kamal El-Garni. He's in there.
yeah, he's over 50. Yeah?
He's over 50. He's 52. He was the 212 Olympia champ, but he's doing open in this. He's like around 220, 225. Max Charles is the only current competitor other than Phil Clahar from Florida. But a few names, I didn't even recognize a lot of the names on the list. So, yeah, hopefully next year. I think a lot
I
of
mean,
guys are waiting to see.
I believe in Grant Warren, J.O. Jackson, Dexter Jackson, Kevin LeBlanc. They don't want to stress their health, you know.
No, I mean, they
We've
did
seen a
that for
lot
years.
lately. I think that 20,000 bucks, it's not a big deal for them, I guess.
No. And I mean, like I said, if they did that for years and they were huge and they took chances with their health doing what it takes to be like that size, and now they've gotten away from it, why would you go back? Maybe for millions of dollars, but it would cost a lot. Like for you, what would it take for you to really want to be huge and take all the drugs in the world again? What would motivate you?
You know, money is not an issue always around you because if you get sick, then what do you think you're gonna earn your health
Yeah,
back with money?
that's right. Your health is your wealth, as they say.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, Masters Olympia, but it was good to see Jay. And it's funny because I remember when he was trying to downsize, and I was talking to him at one of the shows. He said he was eating like twice a day. He was only weight training twice a week, doing a lot of cardio. He could not get under 230 pounds. He just couldn't. His body does not want to be any smaller than 230 pounds. And he's
Yeah,
like 5'9", maybe a little under now.
yeah, I
So,
know.
so yeah,
But
anyway.
he's the smallest version now, and even with the suit, he looks like a gorilla. You know?
He still has because his clavicles are still this wide. He always had the biggest structure. It's funny. You see some guys when they lose all the mass, they're a lot more narrow.
Also, his midsection was all the pelvic bones were wide, so he was kind of quadrangular. I think his enormous muscle mass making him look wide.
He still had he had wide structure, and then he put a ton of shoulder and lat mass on top of that. He was one of the widest guys I ever saw in real life. I remember backstage, I had to help him. He was guest posing, and I was putting the oil on his back, and I couldn't believe how big and wide his back was. I was laughing because it was ridiculous. The hair stubble, it was hurting my hand.
It was wider than Ronnie?
Probably about the same. And Ronnie was a couple inches taller. Jay was very wide back in the day. Marcus Rule was very wide. Paul Dillette. Some of these guys over the years, incredibly wide. Just the clavicles, and then they put the muscle on top. Oof. But all right. Ready for some questions, Doctor? Here we go. The first question you've gotten, I don't know, 100, 200, 300 times. What are the best supplements for cardiovascular health and for lowering blood pressure for women? Is it any different for women than it is for men?
I don't think so. Now, for lowering blood pressure supplements, I think you can use potassium, but you have to be worried about super high potassium. But potassium, so there's a pump in the cell membrane that excretes the sodium. And that's how also aldactone works. It retains potassium and excretes sodium. How blocking the aldosterone works. And also, if you use some diuretics, then you can lower blood pressure, like uvarucil, Deldelia, and Glutas. And then about the cardiovascular health, we have a certain compounds that I use also in my formula. It's niacin for the HDL, polycosanol is a glycoprotein, bergamot root. It's I think this is a compound like the polyphenols, I think. Then we have the phytosterol, which are phytoestrogens. The resveratrol, which also plenty in polyphenols. And also the red rice yeast, of course, which works like a statin, It's plant-based. And then we have the EFAs, and the best of it is the krill oil that is also rich in astaxanthin, that is able to prevent the oxidation of the lipids. That's all, but nothing compares to the statin that is able, in the long run, perhaps, to decalcify. If you also take the K2 vitamin that directs the calcium to the bone tissue instead of the endothelium of the arteries.
Perfect. He's a good one, because I keep hearing people asking me about steroids, certain steroids being fat burners. So this one is, how effective is testosterone as a fat burner / inhibitor of fat storage? Is its effectiveness dose dependent or self-limited by its conversion to estradiol as the dose increases? What would doctors say is the optimal dose of testosterone for fat burning?
Well, testosterone is a fat burner. It oxidizes the fat, and the androgens do this thing, okay? Also, as an anabolic, you build muscle that also burns calories and boosts the BMR. So with a higher BMI, lean body mass, you have a higher basal metabolic rate, okay? Yeah. But that's why also men are leaner than women, because of the muscle mass, but because of the amount of the testosterone that oxidizes, and that's why TRT in the long run may help against obesity, metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. Now, it could be dose dependent, yes, but also mind that somebody who's hypogonadic and takes and receives 100 or 200 milligrams, which is not a major dose, he can become lean with the same amount of calories, just some extra physical activity. So I don't believe, if you take 1 gram of testosterone, you're going to burn more fat. Besides the conversion to the estrogens, estrogens are also linked to the water retention, but also fat storage, like women, Yeah. So you definitely need to block the estrogens when you use massive amounts of testosterone. All right. But definitely I'm leaner now than I was before. Back before my TRT days, I was on and off. When I was off, I looked lousy because I was hypogonadic. Yeah. I was just going to PCT, but after the PCT with just a little bit of kick, then I was diving deep in my testosterone. I felt lousy. And now I'm using this steady amount, And I retain all those muscle gains that I had, and I look leaner because my testosterone levels are close to 1,000. All right,
Yeah.
it had nothing to do with the 300 or 200 that I used to be when I was off the cycle and after the PCT, and I was craving to go again in a cycle. This is the advantage of the user.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember being between cycles. All I could think of is waiting for the next when I could start my next cycle, because I didn't do PCT. I was stupid, lazy, and stupid, and so I would just really crash, and then I'd be like counting the days till I could
Very
take my
nice.
first
Very
shot
nice.
again.
Over here, yes.
Yeah, it was terrible. Man, yeah, it's funny you talk about having more muscle mass, because I have a lot more muscle mass than my wife. She gets mad because I can eat more junk candy, cookies, donuts, whatever, if I want, and not get fat. And she eats it. She gets fat
Remember
right away.
back the days when we were young, 20 years old, we used
Oh
to eat
yeah.
beers and pizzas and still metabolize that shit,
And a six pack.
So unfair when you go in your 40s, you have this damn fat over here, in the midsection, the love handles that you cannot burn easily.
Well,
and this is because testosterone goes down also.
You're in your last 2 months of your 40s right now, doctor.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy your 40s. Okay. We get this question like every week. I'm a lifetime lifter, never taken any PEDs, 210 pounds at 12% body fat. What would you recommend my first cycle to be? First cycle. You get this.
But I think something plus is to use testosterone. I would suggest start with the cream and then go with the injections, and then add another steroid in your third cycle, perhaps. Go easy, okay? Don't saturate yourself. Don't get spoiled very easily, like some beginners that start Trenbolone. Then what do you have to use after the Trenbolone? Okay? Start with milder anabolics, and then as you proceed and have a serious reason to do that, let's say compete for a shooting, or is your job, or something else.
Yeah. Why do you suggest starting with the cream instead of just starting with injections?
Well, because pinning yourself and penetrating your body, and your delts is not something easy. And many of my patients, frankly, go to the bloody pharmacy stores and beg for them. Really, this is pathetic. Unless you cannot go to your mirror and pin yourself, don't go for it. Just start with the cream, for instance. We don't have the andro capsules anymore. So I'm telling you, it's expensive. It's more expensive than cream. Nevertheless, it reaches the same amount of levels. But if you cannot pin yourself, don't beg anybody, for this. Pathetic.
It is. Well, my wife did a lot for me, but I remember the first few times I had to pin myself, I'd be there for like an hour. Like I'd stick it in, I'd stick the needle and it would hurt a little. I'd take it out, I'd stick it in again.
My first injection was after the millennium, January 1st, 2000.
Wow.
No, excuse me. Yeah. Actually, I think, it was 2000, yes. And I remember I was injecting Primo, and it blew up, exploded. I said, what I'm doing, is this a bad sign for my karma?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that happened to me once. That happened once and exploded it went in my wife's eye, the oil. So that was pretty bad. Got steroids in her eye. Speaking of Trenbolone, we can't go a week without talking about Trenbolone here, can we? What's the minimum dose of Trenbolone that I can add to my HRT protocol to give me a crazy sex drive? How long can I be on this dose, and what side effects should I expect? There's more, but let's start with that.
Usually I would cut off questions like this, and I want to get this straight. I've said it before. HRT doesn't mean you can use any kind of steroids. Just think cycles, guys, okay? But don't say that HRT is cycling steroids. No, it's testosterone plus other compounds like mesterolone, which is or DHT, DHEA, pregnenolone, HCG, and growth hormone occasionally. HRT doesn't mean we're going to give a blessing to anabolic steroids. Otherwise, do your cycles. But medical community freaks out when they hear this, and especially Trenbolone, which is a poison and not for human use. Frankly, parabolan is history nowadays, right? Yeah. Maybe it was pharmaceutical grade once upon a time for a brief period, but not anymore. So if you want to use yourself stuff for the cattle, do not call it HRT, call it small cycle. Apart from this, now your sex drive will have a problem with have an issue with the Trenbolone because of the very high androgenicity. So you need double the amount of testosterone you're going to use, and also occasionally may elevate the prolactin. all right? But I would say prefer more the Nandrolone just for the sake of the joints. Also, Nandrolone is not as toxic as Trenbolone, okay? And most of all, is the most used anabolic steroids in history, 60 years now in medicine, all right? But even this, Nandrolone does not belong to the classic HRT. When we speak about HRT, we refer to testosterone and other compounds like androgens mostly. All right.
Yeah. So
well, enough with this thing,
he keeps going. He continues, because he wants to know how long can I be on this dose? What side effects? Well, I mean, you don't want to be
without side effects. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Well, you're going to have side effects from.
But in the long run, you may need a calcium score to see what's going on. You're not going to see your arteries getting calcified, with the blood work.
Yeah, he asks about which ester is better for sex drive. Acetate ester has to be injected every other day. Yes. Once a week, no. Unless
but with acetate, you assimilate more of the compound, but you need more frequent pinning. Now, Trenbolone does not aromatize. Okay, you don't have issue with estrogens.
Yeah.
But Corner also said with the 19 or testosterone derivatives, you need a ratio 2:1 testosterone and deca TREN.
Yeah.
But it's not something healthy today. The TREN. I mean, no. TRT and HRT and about longevity and be healthy. Trenbolone will figure you out, make you crazy.
Do you really believe Trenbolone gives you a better sex drive than like testosterone?
I don't think so. Not at all. Mm-hmm. First of all, it suppresses a lot because it's very androgenic. It suppresses the androgenic receptor over here.
Yeah.
And then also it's the prolactin thing. I mean, the 19 testosterone. But many guys have issues with Trenbolone. That's why they need double the amount of the testosterone to give them the sex drive within the cycle.
Well, a lot of guys will report that in the first few weeks of a TREN cycle, their sex drive is up and their sexual performance, erections are great. But then it goes the other way and they start having like a decadick because of the prolactin issue. And now they're having sexual performance issues and they're on TREN. So the whole idea of using...
You need to use high amounts of testosterone when you use TREN and DECA.
Yeah. So I would not give it a good rating as a sexual performance enhancement steroid. I would say
the most, let's say, horny anabolics are the DHT derivatives, like Cardiovascular, liberate more testosterone, like Primo, Winstrol, Anavar, Masteron, Proviron, testosterone. All right.
I don't even know. This is on a side topic, but why would a guy even want a higher sex drive? Unless you're in a porn star or something. What good is that? You know what I mean? Because how many guys out there have a woman that's got a higher sex drive than them? Maybe some guys do, but most guys, I think they have a higher sex drive than
any of my patients who are middle-aged and get into PRT, they suddenly discover they did out of nowhere. They wake up the desperate housewives in the middle of the night. They wanna,
yeah.
And those, I mean, wives, the poor wives, they suffer because they don't find this kind of pleasure. I mean, they're so dry and low in estrogens, and the men literally go and jerk off all the time.
We say dry as the Sahara Desert. These poor women that have going through menopause, but. Oh boy, let's move on. We could talk about this all day. Last question, doctor, is a training question. Let's help this guy out. He says, I have asymmetrical calves. My right calf is about 1/2 inch bigger circumference. Should I only work out the smaller calf to make it catch up?
I don't think so. Mine, I have also the same issue. Mine is 40 centimeters, one, and the other one is 41. The same goes with my arm, okay? The one is 44, the other is 45. The same goes with my lats, also the testicles. The one is hanging lower than the other. And this kind of small asymmetry, let's say lack of symmetry, is everybody. Now, I don't know. I mean, perhaps they look the same if it's 1/2 inch difference, even my forearm. Everybody has this kind of difference. Now, of course, if you do unilateral training, you can improve this lack of symmetry also after some injury, when we use the one side. But I don't think you should do it. No, focus both. Come on.
So what I would do if I were this guy, I would do my regular calf training, and then I would do and I wouldn't go too hard. Or if I do the one at a time, the bigger calf, I would just train it to failure. No more than that. The other calf, I'd probably do some forced reps, drop sets, train it just a little bit harder to let it catch
My
up.
thigh also is one smaller than the other. I remember in the bodybuilding shows, the one I was also better defined. I was doing the abs and thighs, and I was, bringing it in the front. And also have a good side chest to the right side instead of the left.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
I mean, that's why in pro bodybuilding, they say amateur and pro in the NPC and IFBB Pro League, they say either side chest, either side tricep, because everyone's got a better side, everybody.
Yes.
So yeah, it's not a big deal. Well, that's it, man. It was a quick week. We didn't have too many questions, but they were good ones. That's it, man. So we're into May. Weather's getting warm. Everybody get on your diets, get your cardio going, get some body fat burning away.
What is the next show now? Wasn't Boston the pro
There's
show?
Is the Cali Pro before or after New York?
Jay Cutler. Was it the pro show?
Oh no, that was an amateur show. That was a national qualifier. But we have New York Pro May 20th and the California.
Oliva's gonna be there, eh? Sergio Oliva and
he wants to. I don't know if he can travel. He's having issues with traveling from Dubai because of that car accident he was in. So he wants to get to New York. I hope he gets to New York. I want to see the best guys in that show. I want to see big names.
there's also another show after.
So the Cali Pros after that. Then there's Toronto.
Yeah, California.
In Toronto, Puerto Rico.
Yeah, the Cali.
Chicago, Vancouver. Yeah, the Cali's the week later. So if he doesn't get to New York, maybe Sergio will get to California. But he was talking about, I guess, on Instagram, there's a pro show in Dubai. That's where he lives. Obviously, he can do that. He doesn't have to go anywhere. But I don't want him to do that. I want him to come here so I can see him. Because, we're covering that show for MD. We always do. So,
yeah, she's around 295. He looks really shredded.
He looks great. He looks like he could win that show. Like, no offense to anybody else, but he's looking great right now. So anyway, that's it. Guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Hit the thumbs up. Share this on your social media platforms. Get that notification bell going. And if you have questions for next week for Dr. T, please put them in the comments below or any comments. We like your feedback. That's it. Dr. George, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time, sharing your knowledge and expertise with the world like that. And that's it, man. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Ask Dr. Testosterone. We'll see you next time. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.